Give me a single reason your species is worth saving.
Because humans have the power of love.
Right in the kanyigin!
Every once in a while you come across a movie whose sole purpose is just make you feel good while keeping things fresh in terms of purpose. Sony's The Mitchells vs. the Machines does just that. This was a film I was dying to see, considering it was Sony following up on the humongous hit Into the Spider-Verse. Now, of course, these movies are fairly different, but they do have some of the quirky humor Sony's trying to basically trademark for themselves. Granted, it's produced by the same duo that owns that type of humor, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Seriously, you can expect high-quality laughs to come from this with their backing, especially with the writing being done by two Gravity Falls veterans, Michael Rianda and Jeff Rowe, with some input from Alex Hirsch. Like, seriously, they got a big A-team of writers for this. But I digress. This was something I waited on since it got delayed till this year, and man, I'm kinda mad this didn't get a theatrical release. It would have been a great theater experience, or at the least a great back to theaters experience. Hell, we need something to want us to go back. This would have been great, but either way. The story revolves around this dysfunctional family consisting of Rick the dad, Linda the mom, Katie the oldest child, and Aaron the youngest, with their dog / possible pig / possible loaf of bread, Monchi. They often butt heads with each other, particularly Rick and Katie, who've grown apart over the years, especially with Katie going off to college. To try and reconnect with his daughter, Rick cancels Katie's airplane ticket to college in favor of a family road trip. The road trip goes wrong when an AI named Pal causes all of the world's machines to turn against humanity to destroy all of them for its mistreatment of technology. Now it's up to the Mitchells, who are the last remaining family, to work through their differences and stop the robot uprising. Now, at first, this movie was advertised a bit differently. At one point, it was going to be called Connected, which would have just made the film sound super generic, I mean seriously, and it would have competed against other movies with the same name on Netflix. The name they have now, which was the original name anyway, screams personality, and boy does this movie have personality. The characters are just fantastic. Every single one in the family is pure fun with a lot of heart thrown into the mix. You understand just about everyone here. Rick wants to reconnect with his daughter. You totally get, especially when you see a particular part that I honestly dare not spoil. It's just too sweet and genuine of a moment. He's a man behind the times, so you totally get why he can't connect with his technologically advanced daughter. You get Katie, who wants to get away from her family since she doesn't feel they understand her, particularly her dad. She gets a great arc with realizing that they do care for her and her dreams of wanting to be a filmmaker. It takes on the idea of the artist wanting to express their craft, which so many can get behind. Linda is a great mom who you see try to keep the family together, clearly not taking a side but playing mediator so her family can be happy. She gets her own arc with wanting her family to be more like her perfect neighbors who are basically just perfection incarnate. Aaron is a pure goofus you just can't hate. He is a plain sweet boy who just wants his family to be together, and I like how he cares for them and how he connects with all of them, especially his sister. I just love a good older sibling, younger sibling bond. Don't hate. He also is just a nice kid who wants someone to talk about dinosaurs with him. Come on now, we can all relate heavily to Aaron at one point in our lives. Let's not kid ourselves. Hell, you can relate to honestly every family member here. They all just have a strong relatability to them that easily gets you to want to see them make it through whatever problem, impersonal or personal, they're facing. There is an excellent sense of setup and payoff. Each time something comes up, you find out later that it was actually important for the plot, even if you thought it was just for a simple joke. It's pretty clever when it comes to its payoffs. This movie does something with the well-known trope lie reveal that I appreciate. Instead of just leaving the characters to mope for too long, an urgency is made that keeps things moving. Sure, they get a second to mope, but it's paced well enough that it doesn't slow things down. Speaking of pacing, I love how this thing is paced. I was surprised and slightly dreading to find it was almost 2 hours long, but thankfully, you will not feel it here. Everything moves at a fast pace that keeps you invested and not looking at your watch wondering when's it gonna end. The movie also manages to have a nice bit of commentary with the whole technology taking over the world angle. Now, it doesn't get stupidly preachy or anything like that, but instead it opts for a bit of a nuanced approach that I feel was needed. Plus, it has certain comments that are just pretty freaking hilarious. Also, speaking of which, this movie has to be the funniest film I've seen in a while. I mean it when I say it is a laugh laugh a minute. Every other second, this film is trying to get a laugh out of you and not one of the jokes fail. I was on my ass laughing up a storm at the comedy. It does any kind of joke it can and executes them perfectly. Be it slapstick, quirky jokes or characters, or even some gross out, you will definitely be hollering at how funny it is. Now, of course, the animation is just freaking phenomenal. Sony clearly learned something from Into the Spider-Verse by throwing in mixes of 2D. Throughout the film, you will see these 2D animation bits pop up, and it just adds a nice sense of flair to the film and fits perfectly with the entire tone it's going for. The use of color is mesmerizing with how vibrant it can look a lot of the times. It's just one of those things where you're just like, wow, Sony, you guys are clearly trying to get ahead of Disney and Pixar and all that, and I honestly say bravo. You guys are succeeding big time. And then you get the character movement, and it very much takes lessons from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs with how it has the characters bend to utilize slapstick. It has a lot of kinetic energy going for it that gets you amped up and excited and adds a nice weight to each individual character. Now, I unfortunately have to get to some of the negatives of the film. Yeah, who am I kidding? This movie doesn't really have any negatives. It's just pure fun. It's just a pure fun movie that gets a lot of laughs and has a ton of sweet moments with characters who you all can easily relate to. It screams labor of love, and I commend the crew for this film they were able to create. If you've been wanting a movie that's all about making you feel good and having a good time, The Mitchells vs. the Machines is one to connect with.
Thank you.